Hello, welcome back to another Rumination Tarot video. I have missed having the time to make a video, so it's exciting that I have time right now. I am going to do dream interpretation again, which is interesting because after I made my very first video, which was dream interpretation, I kind of thought, I don't think I'll do that topic again. Just because it felt like at the time, I didn't know how to focus on the dreams as heavily, and it felt like more just talking about life situations, which, our dreams usually are a response to whatever our waking reality is. But, yeah, I don't know. For some reason this week I feel like dreams keep coming up and they're either like gaining intensity or significance. For me, it's like I just feel like I'm dreaming a lot more. So, I don't know, it felt like a good time to go ahead and do that again. We all have dreams, more than once in our life, so there can be more than one video about it. Anyways, so for the groups, I have picked my more dreamy tarot decks. So for the very first one, we have the Star Spinner Tarot. I'm actually going to just flip over the first card and see whatever it is to help you decide. So there's the back of the card for option number 1. And you have the King of Swords as your identifying card. Very interesting. Also, in a unique turn of events, this is all natural light. It's daytime, so I'm able to use just the light of the window. Anyways, so option number 2, we have the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. There's the back of the cards, and then it is being represented by the 5 of Cups. And then for the third option, we have the Salvador Dali Tarot. There is his signature imposed over and over again, making a really cool design. And it is being represented by the star in reverse. Very blue all the way around. Look at all this blue. Blue dreams. Anyways, so yeah. Feel free to watch all of the videos if you'd like and see, or all of the readings, and see if they resonate. Or if you're feeling really drawn to a particular one, I'll have timestamps below for you to just jump ahead to that part of the video. And so for these videos, you could have a very specific dream in mind that you want to have interpreted. So maybe you just had a dream that left you feeling really weird or just sat with you. And hopefully one of these piles will give you some clarity or give you like just a different way to think about that dream. If not, maybe you don't even have like a dream in mind, or like you're like me and you feel like you've been having a lot of dreams. You don't really remember anything about them, but they have been like leaving feelings left over. So I feel like I dream more in feelings than images. There's still images there, but the only thing that really like sticks with me is however I felt during the dream. So maybe it's like that, like you've had these feelings left over when you wake up, and one of these piles will help you decipher those feelings. Anyways, I will see you in your reading. Hi, welcome to your reading. If you chose group number 1, the Cosmic Slumber, nope, not Cosmic Slumber, the Star Spinner Tarot, and this King of Swords card. Let's find out what your dream or dreams or subconscious would like to get across to you. See what it's been highlighting lately. Let's see. Alright, so Okay. So at the bottom of the deck we have the Lovers. Okay. Alrighty, so your past life event that is causing whatever dream or dreams you're asking about is being represented by the Six of Swords. It took me a second to figure out which one this was. So this is about something that you moved away from. Something that, this is like the card about taking the action that you need to like move into calmer waters or get yourself out of a bad situation or mentally unhealthy situation. And this one's really interesting. I don't know if I've really gotten to look at this particular version of this card. It almost looks like death is like on the boat with this mother and child. So this was some kind of, I would say, bigger change than, yeah, it's really giving me like River of Styx vibes. So you could have had a dream about being in a sailboat. There could have been some like death element or like mysterious like guide figure. And yeah, I'm getting definitely a lot of like, I feel like this could have some of the imagery that you experienced in your dream. So the thing in your life that is causing you to have the dream or dreams is some form of moving away. And the Lovers, if this is like our overall energy, the Lovers is usually about like the harmonization or the union of some kind of two separate parts. Like, so it doesn't necessarily have to be lovers or people, but it could be, or it could be people in a different kind of relationship, any kind of like two people coming together or two things, ideas, two things being combined. There's also it could be about decisions having to be made. So I guess it could go a few different ways. It could be that like some elements of your life were brought together and then you had to decide that it wasn't actually good for you and move away from it. Or it could be that in order for these two elements of your life to become harmonious and combined, you have to move away from something that's more unhealthy. There also may have been like flowers in your dream that had like significance. I don't know exactly which kind of flowers these are, but, and it could be that it was like a really like romantic feeling dream too, even if that's not what it's like speaking about in your life. It could have been like, felt like a heavily romantic dream to like draw your attention to the other feelings and things that it was trying to get across to you. So for our second card, it is what is the theme of the dream? And this is being represented by the Hanged Man. So what is your dream trying to get you to focus on? So this is some kind of like changed perspective, or your circumstances have put you in a situation where you're having to look at things a different way, or If you're not looking at things from a different perspective or in a different way right now, that's the way that you're going to feel better about where you're at, is if you realize that the situation you're experiencing right now is going to be a lot easier to deal with or accept if you change your perspective. Like the way you've been thinking about things up until this point or in the recent past helped you to some degree, but now it's that's not the way of thinking that's going to help you feel successful or help you become successful. I always want to point out the apples and the fruit in this one. So there could have been some kind of like apple themes in your dream, symbolism. You could have actually been like in a reversed gravity situation. And did you ever like, okay, this is going to go down a weird way, but when I was a kid, sometimes if I was like laying down, I would look up at the ceiling and I would imagine what it was like to, like, if we walked around on the ceiling, if the ceiling was our floor and that's like how our houses were set up, or just if you could like choose, like today I'd like to walk on the ceiling instead of on the floor. It's kind of like that. It's like you're in a position where it's really easy to imagine another way of life or another world. And there's something kind of playful about it, because like, why else would I think about being like a kid? I swear I was like at a beach and I was really young, so I don't even know why I remember this, but just like looking up at the ceiling and being like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could just like hang out up there? And so it kind of has that sort of feeling, like maybe you had a dream that felt really playful, and like people have dreams about flying, but maybe yours just had like a really weird element of something that's impossible in real life, just like being a part of the dream, and nobody thought to mention it or anything like that. The circles are always so, like, I wonder if they have any significance. I'm sure it's just like a design aesthetic, but I really like these circles with like the dots in them, the kind of halo. It's interesting too, because like these kind of feel like sun and these feel like moons. Man, talking is difficult sometimes. Yeah. And then, so this card is like your waking life block, the thing that is what keeps you from addressing the, I guess, issue or whatever it is that your dream is trying to draw attention to. And this is the Four of Chalices, or Four of Cups. So this is about like discontentment and boredom, stagnation. So in your life, maybe it feels like you're trying to move on, move away from things, but like nothing's moving, or you're doing that, but it feels like nothing. And this card usually has like, it's interesting that this one doesn't even show any cups, but like usually there's 3 cups that this person is like looking at bored and wistfully, and then from the trees like there's a hand reaching out with a cup that's like an offer. And there's kind of this idea of, if you just looked around, there's something being offered to you that you're not paying attention to because you're so focused on your own boredom or like what you know is on your plate or in your reality. This definitely like feels like The Little Mermaid. I feel like a lot of these cards kind of try to allude to fairy tales or are very obvious about it. This one definitely feels like The Little Mermaid, and there's like Prince Eric's castle. She's like, man, how can I be a human? I saw that guy once and he looked pretty cool to me. So this is like her when she's not cool, not jazzed about being a mermaid anymore. And like, how do I get legs? I'd like to go sing some songs to this guy. And maybe her fixation on that is like, that's definitely what was her downfall, sort of. But I mean, everything turned out fine. But that's how she ended up being like tricked by a witch. So maybe your waking life block is that you're so bored that like nothing's happening in regards to this thing you really want. And so you are leaving yourself vulnerable and open to being taken advantage of. Or like your current boredom or whatever it is leaving you open for somebody really screwing you over or getting you into a dangerous situation. Alright, and the next card we're going to look at is the Queen of Coins or Queen of Pentacles. This is the card that is representing the message of the dream. So whether any advice is being offered or just like what the dream is trying to tell you. Again, there's a lot of like floral imagery, a lot of flowers. This could be about something blooming. This could be about like beauty. There's also like a fragility to flowers. Sorry about the dog barking. The Queen of Pentacles. I'm trying to think what like advice this could be about. If she's just like an embodiment of stability, there's also a really nurturing quality to her. Like, look at the way she's caring for this rabbit. The rabbit could be showing up in your dreams. I feel like I really notice her crown and how similar it is to the Four of Chalices crown, tiara. I think this could be like an energy that is extremely representative of your energy, and it's saying to like lean into your Queen of Coins qualities. That's a mouthful. So it could be that those are the things that are going to help you. I was also noticing that, so we have everything but fire in this spread. We've got air with the swords, we've got water with the chalices, and then we've got two cards that are representative of the earth. So it could be that like the thing that you're lacking in your life situation or in your subconscious realm is this like fire and passion to like go after things. It comes across as like a lack of motivation, especially because the Four of Chalices is here, which feels all about like boredom and not being able to like make the moves you need to make to feel better about your circumstances. Especially because like that is kind of like the whole feeling. The card that is representing the background of your dream is the Six of Swords, which is about like moving on. So this could all just be about a struggle to move on, a struggle to move forward. The perspective of this card, like usually you're looking like from the back of the boat and looking like forward to where they're going. This like looks like they're being trapped. The swords are blocking them. Like your thoughts could be blocking you from moving forward. You can't get past this like little forest of swordy, thorny thoughts. And there's just like, there's no movement in it. It doesn't look like, we're not looking at the thing that these people are trying to get to. We can't see the other side, so to speak. So it's like all of this stuff is just referring to you feeling an inability to move forward. And, like, these two cards, like, it's really interesting that you have the pair of the Queen and the King of Coins. They're also extremely stable, fixed, like, energies. So they're very immovable. And I just, like, got the idea. It's like right now you're already kind of immovable, but you're not to the point that you want to be at. So, like, you want to be in this position, and you're already kind of acting like you're there, and you can just sit back and be where you are and not move. But you're not happy yet. You're not there yet. Is kind of the feeling that's coming across. I wonder if, like... So I feel like a lot of my dreams have, like, a kind of journey feel to them, or, like, there's, like, a clear task that's trying to be accomplished within the dream, whether it makes sense or not. It's just, like, I'm really trying to do one thing. And this feeling feels like maybe you're not even having dreams like that. Maybe your dreams don't even feel like they have an objective. There's just a lot of sitting still. And maybe things are happening around you, but for the most part, it's just kind of like all of these people. I keep looking at these two. It's like they just kind of look at like they're waiting for the world to yank them out of whatever situation they're in, instead of seeing what you can do to pull yourself out of the situation quicker. Which maybe there isn't anything you can do. I don't know. I don't know your life. And if it's like solely about the dream and not about like your life circumstance, like if it doesn't feel like there's anything going on in your life that this refers to, it could just be ways of thinking. Like it could be your dream trying to alert you that you're thinking about yourself and your life in an unhealthy way, and that's where the stagnation is. That's where this lack of movement is, especially because like everything is kind of being represented by this Six of Swords. That's all about your mind and your thought processes. And again, it's like we're not even looking at like what the good possibility is. Maybe you're not even aware of like what the other side of this would look like. You just know that you're not there yet. Yeah, so maybe your dreams are just kind of trying to like, one, alert you that your thought patterns could be unhealthy for you and start to steer you in a like, let's shake them up a little bit, and then maybe they can start figuring out more healthy ways to think about themselves. And it'll get you out of this stuck feeling that you might be in. And yeah, I haven't talked about the King of Pentacles or King of Coins yet. This is what is representing the lesson of the dream. So what can you learn from your dream? What can you do to address this in your waking life? So I was noticing when I was in the midst of talking about something else, it's interesting that, like, the King of Coins is represented as this, like, really mean-looking rabbit. Look at them. They're so serious. And, like, they're sitting in the crown because they can't wear it because they're a little rabbit. But it's just funny that, like, there's this super stern-looking rabbit, and then, like, the Queen of Coins is, like, cuddling them. That's just the feeling that I get, is that... Oh, sorry about the dog. It's just the feeling that I get is that this is the King of Coins. Okay, so I've experienced a few interruptions on this one. So I don't know exactly what train of thought I was on at the end of the other video, or where I just cut off. But I'm going to try to sum up. Well, that also made me think maybe your dreams are very interrupted. Like, sometimes... I tend to dream in the morning. I don't know if that's everybody, but I dream in the morning, and sometimes I've always been a person who has to set a lot of alarms. So oftentimes I'll like dream, wake up to an alarm, snooze, go back to sleep, that whole business. And I wake up a couple or a few times in the morning, and sometimes I go back into whatever dreams I was having before I woke up. Other times I start whole new dreams. So maybe that interruption element, and also my thoughts feel really fragmented in this video. Like if you haven't noticed, there's definitely like kind of a scatterbrained energy and thought process going on, which is not uncommon in my videos, but it feels very prevalent. So maybe there's a lot of like fragmentation, your dreams get interrupted and you kind of try to go back to them, or that kind of thing. This one's also really interesting, and maybe it's just all dream interpretation videos are kind of like this. It's really hard to tell what is the dream and what is about your life. I mean, you'll be able to discern if any of it relates to you, but okay, anyways, for summing up, I definitely feel a strong sense of like a clear like goal or desired like outcome or goal, and a strong feeling of separation from it. Like you feel very far away from whatever this thing you want to achieve is. There's also an energy of like so much stagnation going on, like being in a very fixed, perhaps even stuck place, and maybe you being the kind of person who, because you like stability and you like steadiness. That's the word, steady. Like, these are cards of being very fixed and stable and steady, and it kind of feels like you're trying to do that before you're actually at the place that you want to be fixed and stable in, if that makes sense. So maybe a lot of like stopping along the way before you're actually at your destination. And also maybe this is just kind of calling out that there isn't always a here and there. There isn't always a destination. Like obviously we have to have goals and things that keep driving us forward and making it feel like it's worthwhile to keep doing things. But there's like, whenever you get to that destination, you're already going to have a new thing that you want to go after anyway. So there's kind of an element of like, it's like the movements you want to take are because you want to be fixed and stable and set later on. And maybe even if you get to that point, you're just going to want to be moving on to the next thing anyways. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does seem like maybe think about what you really do want to nurture, and then like focusing on the things that you do hold this dear and cherish the way. Like, again, I just have to like show you how she's like really like gently loving this thing. This is something that is really dear to her. Think about what thing you feel that way about, and then the other side of this ship, your goal will become more clear, and it won't feel like this lofty, scary castle in the background that you can't get to. Like, if you sit, and it brings you back to the Hanged Man of just like looking at things in a different way. There's a different way you can be looking at things that will make your destination a lot more clear to you, and will eventually lead to something more harmonious. It really does feel like this Lovers is speaking to like harmony within yourself. This is trying to unify something within yourself that'll make you feel more content to be wherever you are, and not just thinking of, here I am, here's where I want to be. Anyways, that was kind of a long, scattered reading. I hope it was still enjoyable and you got some messages from it that resonate with you. Feel free to comment and tell me about your dreams. I love to hear about dreams. You can let me know if it felt like it related at all. Yeah, and I hope to see you in another video. Have a good day or night, whatever time you choose to be watching this. Until next time, bye. Hello and welcome, group number 2. Those of you who were drawn to the Cosmic Slumber Tarot or the 5 of Cups card. Let's see what your dream or dreams are trying to tell you. So first off, it just seems worth mentioning that the 5 of Cups is typically a card about grieving and loss. So that may be significant for you. I did a little bit of shuffling off camera, but I'm also going to do a bit of shuffling on camera. And it's interesting to me that before I shuffled, the bottom of the deck was death, and then when I was done shuffling, it was also death. So, again, could have to do with grieving or just like a really major change in your life that is making you feel like you're missing something. So this already feels very different from the first group. I don't feel as like scattered or fragmented. There's definitely like a bit of calm surrounding this pile, which is nice. Not that there was anything wrong with that first pile, but just saying, calm is always nice in my book. Let's see what we got. Alright, so at the bottom of the deck we have the Devil. This could be about attachments, addictions. Okay, so for the past event background of the dream, that is being represented by the 3 of Swords. So this could be about some kind of heartbreak. Definitely feeling like difficult emotions, but it's weird because again, it's not as frantic as the last group. So it's like, I guess sometimes pain subdues us. The dream theme is being represented by the 4 of Cups. The waking life block is the 6 of Swords. Interesting, both of these cards were also in the first pile. And then the message is being represented by the 3 of Cups. And your lesson is the 3 of Torches. Okay, interesting. So this could have to do with your thoughts surrounding relationships. There could have been, I'm trying to look for like dream symbolism that might have been in your dream or dreams as of late, but the only thing that I'm seeing is like these really cloudy things. There's also like a beach in this one, so maybe that feels, I'm wondering if you have very feeling based dreams, like there may not be a lot of action, and I've said that a lot. That's the way I dream, so maybe it's just easier for me to see things that way, but there is an element of like journey that I'm seeing. Like it does look a little bit more like a story than the last one. of starting out in this floating, drifting heartache, and then again kind of like continuing to float and wallow a bit until things get like you cagey and you feel like you want to bust out. There's this like striving and like really working and like trying to pull yourself up feeling in the Six of Swords, and then this celebratory energy of the Three of Cups. And that also is like reminding me, I don't know why when I looked at that, it made me think of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" and the Sirens. Three of Cups to me always feels like, I think it's supposed to be a really positive card, but for some reason it always feels like dubious and like there's another side to it. And then ending on the Three of Torches, it's about like really setting out and looking for new things. So I'm gonna start breaking down the cards individually, because for some reason I'm going about this a completely different way than I usually do. I wonder if in your dreams there is like very obvious characters. So I feel like a lot of times when I'm dreaming, I know for a fact like two people were around me, and one of them may have changed into another person at a certain point, but like I know, okay, this person was there with me and that person was there with me at one point in time, and maybe someone of a similar energy is the one that got swapped out with them. So I'm wondering if there's like a lot of feelings going on and like just like energetically feeling things while you dream, and then the only thing you can remember is, and I was there with those people. It's also interesting too that it looks like the same character on these three cards. Like it's coming from a very like lonely, I have to do this by myself energy, and then moving into adding other people into it. Anyway, so let's start card by card. So your past event and the background for what's happening in your reality that might be causing your subconscious to dream about this thing. So Three of Swords. This is a very different depiction of the Three of Swords. It's like one of the more iconic cards. It's almost always like a heart with three swords in it. And I think it's really interesting how differently this one is portrayed. Of like the person, and again it's like just being swept up and like floating, but not in a free way. Like it feels like you're just being swept up into like whatever is happening around you, or maybe painful emotions, you feel lost in them, and like they're the thing that's carrying you. Oh, weird. I just had the thought of like your pain being your gravity and dictating your gravity and making everything. It's almost like when you feel so bad that it doesn't feel like there's any gravity. You don't know where the ground is. Everything is kind of turned on its head. And there is one sword that is like going into this person's back. So there could be a real like swept up and like maybe even in your dream you're kind of like maybe not listless, but you're like uninvolved, removed. Nothing really feels like worth your effort. Like I'm getting that like numb depression vibes of like even in your dreams you can't be bothered. You don't care. And I don't mean to laugh at that, but it's yeah, it feels like, and that's why you're swept up, because it's like I might as well just be moved by whatever moves me if I don't have like this strong sense of desire or ambition. So I get the feeling that this is referring to like your external state. This is what you're in, and it's causing whatever kinds of dreams you're having. And it could be like, maybe you even have like an addictive attachment to dreaming and being asleep. And that's where the devil's coming in. Like this devil card looks like a movie poster to me. And so that's why it kind of adds to this sort of like journey, adventure vibe that I feel like it's possible your dreams are having. It's almost like your dreams could be trying to give you like these very structured storyline feeling dreams, so that to kickstart your involvement. Like, I'm really thinking of movies like The Last Unicorn comes to mind. Fantasy movies like Labyrinth, of just like being thrown into this situation and all of a sudden you're on a quest. I feel like maybe you're having very quest-like dreams. So the Four of Cups is about the word I use so much in the first pile, stagnation. It's about being bored. This one always makes me think of the Four of Swords, because it feels a lot like it's about resting, but it's not a comfortable rest. I always have to draw attention. So if you've gotten a pile in the past with this, you've probably heard this a million times, but like the water in this looks like static vibration, and it reminds me of this feeling that I get in sometimes where I just like, it's like feeling like you're vibrating because you want something to happen, you want to do something, you want to like your skin's crawling, you just need something to happen or you to take some kind of action. It feels like that, but then it's also like there's this need to rest, and there's all of this confusion around you. So it's like when you want to act the most, sometimes that's when you really need to be pulling yourself back and just sitting in whatever energy that you're in. So the dream could be starting out feeling that way, and then somehow you get like roped into this quest, and all of a sudden like there's a responsibility on you to get someone to safety. So the Six of Swords is usually in a boat, and there's like a ferryman figure like guiding the boat across the water, and then there's usually like a mother and child. In this one it looks like a father and child. I kind of get the sense this looks more like you protecting yourself, like your inner child. Like you're trying to carry this vulnerable, innocent part of yourself that just feels scared by all of the like loss you're experiencing right now, and you're just trying to get them to safety. You're just trying to like crawl up these swords and get to that higher place, so that you're somewhere where your inner child can thrive more and come out, and it's not, you don't have to worry about them being like beat down or destroyed. It's like you're really just trying to get yourself to a safer place, and a safer place mentally. And it's really interesting too, because there's this feeling of like your dreams might feel very much like you're in peril. Like it could be an adventure, but it's like a very high stakes. Like everything must feel really like you could be eaten by a dragon, or that kind of thing. I don't know why I'm getting like really heavy fantasy vibes, and it could be like really mundane, normal, everyday life stuff, but it's being presented in a way that it feels like you're in The Last Unicorn. And it's interesting that that's the one that pulls up to, because there's a lot of adventure movies that have that kind of being like swept up on a quest feel, but that one has such a somber, like doomed, it could be the end of everything kind of feel to it. So I really do get the sense that you're dealing with some really heavy energy right now and emotions. We have everything but Earth being represented, so this is all like all in your emotions and your thoughts, and like they're feeding off of each other. But one of the things that I think is interesting is, so like once you take this risk to move yourself to calmer waters, higher ground, however you want to look at it, it may feel very risky to try and make that move and protect yourself, but once you do, it's like the dream's going to show you that there's celebrations. And I also think I really like this, I know that I said that it looks really dubious, but this Three of Cups, I really like that they're reveling in this like rain. They're catching the rain in their cups, and they're making the best of the situation and choosing to celebrate it. It's kind of like you're gonna go up against this dragon or whatever it is, and when you get out on the other side, there's gonna be this really wonderful celebration. I'm seeing like like in Lord of the Rings when they're in the pub and they're all celebrating. Like I feel like there's always like medieval taverns and stuff, like that kind of joyous thing. People may be singing songs, or it could be like as simple as like you're out on a beach and you just feel so happy to have this moment of peace and joy, and just to like sit and have it feels like ritual celebration, if that makes any sense. Like it just feels like the ritual of being around people and enjoying them, like maybe being around a fire, or even like being in that kind of taverny pub environment has like a wow, this is very much the fairy tale pile, because it's like the tale as old as time, kind of like people have been enjoying each other's company in that way for such a long time. And maybe that's like part of the reason your dreams could be showing up in this kind of fantastical way and like old school storyteller vibe. It's to show you that like this kind of pain has been around forever, and people have been battling with pain and difficulty forever, and they also have been finding joy among those situations forever. And it's all about just finding the things that give you peace and joy, and recognizing like when you need rest and when it's time to act. I feel like that's most of what tarot can tell us at all times, is like you gotta rest and you gotta take action. Like you can't do both forever, or either forever. And then so yeah, this is the message. So it's like that's what the dream wants you to know. There's things to celebrate, and it's really good to sink in and celebrate them as much as you can. And also just like that, again, the rain aspect of like there's something that could be viewed as a misfortune that is actually something that can be turned on its head and looked at as fun and celebrating. And like right now when I'm filming this, it's summer, it's like 100 degrees outside. That sounds like a joke, but I think it is legitimately like over 100 degrees today. And like rain is a bad thing, but it also could cool things down. It's just like there is like some perspective shift tricks that you could be doing to feel a little better about your circumstances. And like that's not gonna fix everything. There's probably like, I don't know, it just feels like when you're in a really difficult place, you have to play those games and play those little tricks and find ways to like look at things as advantages instead of just always being disadvantages, because otherwise you're just going to be brought down. And it's interesting, so the last card is the 3 of torches, or 3 of wands, 3 of rods. It's interesting that the last card is so dark, but it does feel like a very hopeful card. This is your lesson. I think of this card as like a planning card. Like if you're thinking of the torches journey, the ace would be a moment of inspiration. The 2 would be like kind of thinking, like deciding whether you're going to pursue it or not. And then the 3rd is like, okay, I do want this thing. You're just starting to like illuminate the space around you to be like, but how is that possible? Is that possible for me? You're scoping out your options. So it feels like I just want to keep like referencing Lord of the Rings and stuff, but it's like you, more so The Hobbit, you've gone to it's very much like The Hobbit. You went on this journey, didn't even want to go. Some wizard just shows up and like turns your life upside down. Then you go, you get, eventually after a bunch of stuff, you get to this like mountain, have this huge like battle, I think with a dragon. My like Hobbit knowledge is not 100%. And then at the end, it's like there's celebration, you overcome this thing, but then later on down the line, we've got this ring situation that is going to be a problem. But anyways, so it's kind of like your dream or your current situation might be The Hobbit. And then later on, it may not even be your generation, but later on down the line, there's this like Lord of the Rings situation too. I don't know where I was going with that, but I guess like celebrate your wins when you can, because there's always like other battles to be fought. And it feels like your dreams, they want you to think, like, realize the like timeless nature of the things you're experiencing. Like this is, I don't know, it's like there is a timeless nature to struggle and celebration and like that kind of balance. And it really does feel like it's like there's more for you to explore. Even when you think you're at the end of this thing, good or bad, there's going to be more for you to explore and more new experiences for you to I don't know, to relish in, to like there's new things to be felt that you haven't experienced yet. And you're gonna have many epic journeys. It doesn't just have to be like one and done, which may sound exhausting. I don't know, like I don't know if any of this is gonna feel like good or bad to you. But well, and I was thinking, I mentioned "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" That's like the Odyssey. So like again, we're talking about experiencing things that like obviously like when it's personal to us, it's gonna be huge. And maybe even like it's the kind of maybe you're experiencing something that's the kind of story that people are going to be telling in the future. Like if you share your experience, it's going to feel like a story that you pass on to people, like all the ones I've mentioned. Or maybe you're going to have a dream that's going to inspire you to write a story. I don't know. I'm very interested by this. I also just noticed that you have 3 3s, a 4 and a 6. Really interesting. Yeah, I feel like I could ramble on longer, but I think that kind of is the gist of everything. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and that I hope your dreams have been pleasant or exciting, and if you feel comfortable to tell me about them in the comments, I would love to hear about them. Obviously, I adore dreams. Yeah, and I hope to see you in another video. Hello and welcome, group number 3. This is for those of you who were drawn to the star in reverse. The star is one of my favorite cards. I think it's a lot of people's favorite card, but I got when I was thinking about just how much I like the star while I was shuffling, I was thinking this might be the Daydreamers pile. So this is the Salvador Dali tarot. We're going to see what your dream or dreams have been trying to tell you. It's possible this could just be referring to a life circumstance. It's hard for me to tell. You'll know better than I do. Let's see what messages we can find. Oh, I don't like this. Okay. I did this one like backwards from all the others. I did all the others like this. I don't know that it really matters, but alright. And we have the moon at the bottom of the deck. So this could be about like your subconscious. Alright, we've got the Queen of Cups reversed, the Queen of Coins. I don't know that this deck actually does reversals, now that I think about it. When I've looked at the guidebook, it seems like it doesn't mention anything about reversals, so we'll see if we want to take those or not. We got the Emperor. These cards are so big, it's always hard to fit them on the screen, but they're gorgeous. Okay. That's the 9. Alright, so as your past event background, this is the Queen of Cups. In fact, I think I'm just going to go ahead and turn them over. I'll acknowledge, I feel like every time I read, the cards give you like a different feel anyways, so if there's any like reversed or blocked energy or whatever it is, I will pick up on that. And then, so your dream theme is being represented by the Queen of Coins. It's almost like you might be at war with your emotional and more like practical self. It's like the immediate feel I get from those two cards. The thing that might be blocking you in your waking life is the Two of Wands. And the message from the dream is the Emperor. Oh, I like this Emperor. I haven't looked at it before. It's very stern. And then your lesson is the Nine of Swords. Very interesting. I kind of, when I was looking at this like kind of statue feel, I got like a Romeo and Juliet vibe. Alright. Let's see what kind of things are standing out. I noticed there's a lot of like small details in periphery, so there might be like the symbolism in your dream might actually be coming from the like the smaller things. Like it's more about the rooster on the side of where your main focus is, or like a bird that flies by. It's like there's some like hidden little detail that is really significant. So for the overall energy, we have the moon. This is usually about things like our shadow self, things we hide about ourselves, from other people. There's also like a feeling with this one of like this thing looks like it's like bleeding out. So it's like maybe like the part of yourself, your shadow self, the thing about you that you reject is starting to seep out, and it's like affecting your world. There's also like this moon looks so angry. It's like you really don't want to let this part of yourself out, but you've pushed it back too long. It's like gonna come out. There's also, I think, part of some of the things I've read about the moon, there's almost always two, like dogs or wolves like howling at the moon, and it's about like that innate animalistic part of ourselves that we can't control. So yeah, there's definitely like a lot of inner conflict feeling going on. Immediately, that was the thing that I noticed about the two queens. It's like it's like there are two passive energies within you. Maybe passive isn't the right word. It's like parts of yourself that are really substantial. So like you could represent as being a really emotional person, really giving with your emotions, but it's such a part of you that it's not something that's like, it's not aggressive in the way that you express it. And then there's also this other part of you that wants you to be more grounded and concerned with material things and your finances. And again, it's not like super aggressive in the way that it shows up, but these two selves are kind of battling. No matter how restrained they are, it's like they don't complement each other. There's some dissonance between those two selves. Of like, I need to do the things that keep me feeling emotionally fulfilled. And then also being like, yeah, but you also want to have your like finances secured. So even though it is important to spend your money on taking care of your emotions and doing the things that make you feel emotionally fulfilled, you don't want to do that so much that you like spend all your money. There's also this, I always notice in this one, I really do like this card. I think it's beautiful. This like kind of demon-y looking thing, like it always feels like this woman is being drained by something that she's not paying attention to. So there could be something in your life, and it could draw back to that. It feels like there's a small detail in your dream that is trying to get your attention, or maybe what the dream is all about, but there's other things going on that you can't focus on it. But it feels like there's this small thing, or it may feel very small, not very present in your life, that is really sucking a lot out of you. And so that's why your dream is trying to bring your focus onto small details, so that you do realize there is something in your like energy field, or whatever you want to call it. There's something like on the outskirts of your reality that is really taking a toll on you. It could be draining you financially. It could just be draining. Like, I always think of, these are the two, like, most nurturing queens in the deck. And so it kind of feels like there's maybe somebody that you're just so used to taking care of in one way or another that you don't realize how much of a toll it takes on you, but it is taking a toll on you. So it's like your dreams are trying to get you to acknowledge that. It also makes me think of, I feel like this phrase keeps coming to mind in regards to our current world situation and like everything about the pandemic right now. It's, even when we feel like it's over, obviously it's not, but not even that. It's like when you're not thinking about it, it's still happening and it's still in your awareness. So I saw a thing the other day that was saying it's kind of like when you have like an internet tab open on your computer or your phone and it just stays on all the time, but you're not looking at it, you're not aware of it, you're not even thinking about the fact that it's open, but it's still draining like the battery of whatever item it's on. And so this feels like that. And that was just talking in regards to the pandemic. Like, we're always aware that it's happening, whether we are actively talking about it or thinking about it. It's still a thing that is undeniable all of the time, and it's draining. So that's kind of what this is making me think of. There's something in your life, and it could even be as open-ended as the current world situation. That's the thing that's draining you, but there also could be something specific to your life and situation that's doing that as well. And so your block being represented by the Two of Wands, this like always feels like it's about, like, I was just talking about this in the last group. Like, the Ace of Wands is having like an inspired thought or idea, something that you instantly feel very impulsive and passionate about and you want to go after. And the Two of Wands is kind of like when you're deciding if you're actually going to pursue it or not. Or like maybe there's two different ways to go about this thing that you're excited about, and you're trying to decide which is the best one. This is maybe the obvious way you could do it, but there's another possibility that maybe you're not taking into account. I also, I like that, like, this woman just looks like she's, like, trying to pose. And again, there's, like, this mysterious, like, unrealistic, otherworldly thing, like, right beside her that's, like, hanging over her shoulder. It could be, like, there could be a bit of, like, imposter syndrome, like, you present as a really successful person, but you just feel like you're, like, hiding this demon or something, like, people don't know. Yeah, I'm having a hard time deciphering whether, like, this is something internal that feels like it's holding you back, or external. The message being represented by the Emperor. So this is like the embodiment of masculine energy. I always think of it as like a very stable, perhaps like stubborn card. So I'm remembering also that this is one of the ones that came out in reverse. And I also remembered with the Queen of Wands coming out in reverse, there's like, it adds to that message of like your tendency to nurture people is like likely to be your downfall, or not downfall, but it's like it could be causing you more trouble than it's worth at the moment. So I don't know if this is telling you that you need to be more fixed and stubborn in your stance on things, or if, because it came out like this, it wants you to like loosen that grasp of stubbornness and like open yourself up more. The more I look at this card, I just like love it. I don't know, like the robe is insane. So there's kind of this feeling of like, when I see this, it like is telling you stand in your power, whatever that means for you. And maybe it's like encouragement to like dress yourself in a way that makes you feel powerful. I don't know. I get like, I really like looking at this card. Your lesson is being represented by the Nine of Swords, and this is a card about like anxiety and the things that keep us up at night, the thoughts that keep you up at night. This is the one that I looked at and I kind of felt like it had to do with Romeo and Juliet, but I don't think so, because this is like a solo figure, and this feels more like a spirit or an angel, ghost, that kind of thing. It definitely has that feeling of like being haunted to the point that you can't sleep, which is interesting in a dream interpretation. Again, maybe this has to do with daydreams. I'm having a hard time getting clear messages, and I wonder if it's partially because maybe this is my pile, who knows, or my group, and it might be that you're experiencing like analysis paralysis, which is my everyday. Just thinking things into the ground to the point that you can't make sense of them. And it's almost like, I wonder if this is even a problem, you know, like is the stuff that your dream's highlighting, is it just like making problems out of nothing? Or is there even a dream to be interpreting? I don't know, like there's definitely a element of like, this is only a problem because of the amount that you're thinking about it. But that's not fair either. Like, it doesn't mean that, like, I don't mean to invalidate feelings of discomfort, but it feels like that really unclear. It's all about like balancing parts of yourself, the ways that you're thinking about things, the way that you're choosing to interpret the things going on in your life. I also notice almost every single one of the people in these cards is like looking at us. These three are definitely like staring you in the eye. And then this one is kind of like wistfully. I think this person's overwhelmed because of like how they're being drained. And even like they're like surrounded by this beautiful environment. There's like this kind of like florally gazebo. Like you could be having these like really fantastical, beautiful dreams, but because of the what's actually happening in them, you can't appreciate the beauty because of either just how like worn out you are, or just, yeah, that you're being drained. Like you don't have the energy to accept like the beautiful environment you've made for yourself and been surrounded by. And this kind of feels like you might be trying to enjoy it and be like, hey, look at this picture, like things are nice. But there's still this like intense anxiety and just like discomfort all around about it. Also, like, this figure is a statue. I don't know, it's like maybe you feel like you're stuck in stone, like you have to hold this position for a really long time even though it's uncomfortable. There's something about your life that like you feel really I don't want to say stuck. All the other groups have felt really stuck, but this, like, there is like turned to stone. It's like you feel like for some reason you have to hold some position for an extended period of time, and it may not even be for you that you're doing this. I was looking for more like dream clues. And this could be that like if you're dreaming, one, you may not be sleeping, so there may not be a lot of dreams happening. Two, if you are dreaming, it could just feel like an extension of your waking life, which is very common for me. I pretty much just daily process in my dreams. There's not a ton of fantasy, and it's just like me with my regular consciousness in a dream experience. It's not that different from maybe something that I did the day before. So it could be that like the reason this like overthinking and confusion is coming in is because in your dreams it's just your regular consciousness in whatever experience you're having in your dream. So that's why the thoughts are coming through that heavy. And again, like if we're thinking of like the daydream thing that I mentioned at the beginning, you could be kept awake by your daydreams. There could be a really significant like male figure that has all of your focus. Maybe that's why I keep like looking at the emperor and being like, oh wow, like it holds your attention. And even though there's all of these like really strong women, like you could just be focusing on like this one male or masculine figure in your life, or even just like your personal masculine energy. I think that might be, I don't know if any of that made any sense or anything, but I feel like that might be most of what I'm getting from these cards. It's like there's small details in your dreams. They might be daydreams. They might not be nighttime dreams or morning dreams when you're actually asleep. It could just be like where your mind drifts to. And it does feel like, even though there are swords, but there's only one sword, and it feels like your thoughts are definitely not the catalyst. I don't know, it's like they're the main foundation of everything that's going on here. It feels very analytical and methodical, even though there's a lot of things that make it seem like it should be about something else. Also, all of the figures are like by themselves too. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. So this really does feel like it's like, and again, maybe that's just the way I read tarot, because I feel like a lot of my readings feel this way, but it just feels like internal conflicts that are happening, and especially with like the moon being the overall energy for it. This is about like battling with yourself about how maybe you're just like really being hard on yourself and breaking yourself down and overthinking yourself and your actions and like that. Like you want to do the things that fulfill your emotions, but then the like more practical financial side of you is like, but we have to be concerned about that. And then there's also this, I am kind of starting to feel like the Emperor is like an external figure that's distracting you. And all of these things are just, it seems to be like causing you stress. So I'm not sure exactly what the advice is. This is the card that's representing the advice. Maybe it's saying that like it's keeping you up for a reason. Like there's a reason you're so stressed by this. And it's here just to validate that. I know that I said something that made me worried that I was invalidating the things you're experiencing, but it's like this is validating that that is your experience, and maybe the sooner that you accept that that's your reality and let yourself feel through the struggle and the difficulty of your current experience, environment, the sooner you can move on from it. I also too just was thinking about, so when we're talking about like shadow self, one of the things I thought when I saw the Emperor is, oh, sometimes I don't like this card because it does feel so stubborn and so, I don't know, like, I mean, it is masculinity embodied, and the patriarchy can be a big old problem. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's interesting that I'm so drawn to this card, because usually it's one that I don't dislike, but it's definitely not a favorite. And so maybe that's the shadow part of you. Like maybe you have a lot of masculine energy that you reject, and by doing that you're causing yourself a lot of anxiety, and it's time to start incorporating your more masculine energy and stop rejecting it. Yeah, so to avoid rambling on any longer, I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was interesting. Maybe it related to a dream or dreams you've been having. Maybe not. I don't know. If you have been having any crazy dreams you'd like to tell me about in the comments and you feel comfortable to do so, please do. I love to read about dreams, so it would make me happy. Anyways, I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, and that you will join me in another video sometime. Goodbye.